after the game. I think one of the things that is hard to work on is just your mental toughness. And I think not that we're talking about last night, but tonight to come out against a team that is doing what Detroit is doing this year, and leading our conference, and for our guys to play through what was a really physical game. Jaylen in particular, to have the first half that he had, and he just had great poise on the bench. There wasn't any part of him that was frustrated, and we didn't get discouraged. And that to me is, as much as anything, is what we take from this game. Obviously you want to win. Well, that's a given. A few things we could have done better here and there, but I think that the mental toughness of our group is something that, as I said, is encouraging, especially a very young team.
And same for Nikhil in the fourth quarter, the way he came through.
And Nikhil's, I think if you were talking about any one player in that respect, it would be him. You can take it for granted sometimes, and they don't. As he said, his competitive level is consistently at the very top, and guys feed off that. His leadership and his competitiveness, but I thought our whole team was in that frame of mind.
Coach, what did you like about that response to Detroit's 9-0 run at the end of the third?
Yeah, we had some shots. We weren't taking our shots. And against a team that defends like they do, if you don't, I don't even care if they get blocked, but if you don't take those, it becomes harder to make plays. So that said, that was one of the times in the game I thought that we dug in and got in the paint, and really we just the defensive glass is the thing that hurt us the most, and we got to continue to grind on that, and we're going to be at a disadvantage, and everybody's got to rebound, whether we got to tip it to each other or get on the floor, or what. It doesn't matter what it looks like. We just got to kill possessions with the ball.
Coach, you mentioned Jaylen and just the difference in the first half and the second half. He had 4 points in the first half, and then he finishes with 29. Just what did you see out of him in that, especially that third quarter?
Yeah, well, I think it's where statistics get really misleading, because, and I've said this about him, he was distributing the ball early in the game, and we weren't making some shots. But usually, if you maintain your poise, and continue to play the way, that he needs to play and wants to play, which is, when to shoot when you're open, drive the ball, push it in transition, all those things. You don't know what the game's going to present you. And in the second half, like I said, you just look at him on the bench, and there's a quiet confidence that he wasn't discouraged. It would have been easy, given the games that he's had. Last night, as an example, when you're not scoring like that, and you're aware of that, and it's easy to force yourself on the game in those situations, and he just didn't do that. It shows a lot of maturity. You're going to have games like that,
I was going to say, Onyeka kind of fueled you guys quite a bit in the first half, especially with sort of that hook shot that he works on. What have you liked about his attacking of the paint as opposed to just hanging his hat on his burgeoning three-point shot?
Yeah, his floater is, usually, Duran's bigger than him. He's usually got a matchup where the guy that's guarding him, he's given up some height. But the way that he attacks and the touch that he has is unique. And in spite of the fact that he's shooting threes, I don't think he's not just a three-point shooter. If anything, he's a playmaker too. And they were making it hard for us in handoffs and things like that. They were blowing stuff up. So his ability to put the ball on the floor becomes really important.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay?
Thanks, Coach.
All right.